Hey, it's Miguel. How are you doing, girl? So today is the 11th of February, 2019. I am so happy to be here. So glad to be a part of your life. So glad you're willing to connect with me and be with me. Just fills my heart with joy. Feels so good. So thank you. Man, it has been cold lately. The days have been getting longer, which I really appreciate. Since December 21st, the winter solstice, days have been getting longer. It's already February, almost mid-February, and it's still freezing cold outside. I was just in Los Angeles last night, and I was walking around town outdoors in Hollywood, and walking up and down the sidewalks, looking at all the pizza joints and all the restaurants, people in them. And I was freezing my butt off. It was so cold. I was, I had a hat on and a jacket on, and I was thinking, man, I need some thermal underwear too. Yeah, it's cold. And I was in Los Angeles and it was raining like crazy, cats and dogs. I was on the freeway, like the 101. And um, I'll tell you, thankfully, I didn't see any people getting wrecks or anything like that. I was gratified to know that, or to notice that a lot of people who were driving on the freeways were driving slowly and carefully and in measured ways, particularly when it was raining. It actually was quite a stunningly beautiful experience to be driving down in Los Angeles in the belly of the beast, so to speak, with all these cars driving slowly on the freeway. It never happens, okay? It never happens. But it did this time, where it was nice and actually kind of enjoyable. It was beautiful to watch sort of the splashing water being splashed up by the tires by everyone's vehicles. And it was just a sight to see. Everything was gray. And I don't know. I just thought it was really beautiful. It was really picturesque. So today is the 11th of February, and what's coming up is Valentine's Day, everybody's favorite holiday. I'm not so sure if it's everybody's favorite holiday, because I know people struggle on that holiday, particularly if they don't have a romantic partner, or even if they do have a romantic partner. I think people particularly struggle. So I'm not sure that you get away with that holiday. Um, I don't think anyone gets away with that holiday really easily. So I'm kind of curious what's on your mind this Valentine's Day. And for me, believe it or not, I think that I'm going to feel really good about this Valentine's Day. I know, it's strange. Well, for me, I think Valentine's Day is about relief. It's about relief. Having a mate is tough. It's hard. It's not easy. Now, there are periods of time when it's easy. Here's the thing. Our culture really romanticizes romantic love, and we've been doing it for hundreds of years. Not thousands of years, just hundreds of years. When we've been romantic. I'm kind of getting over it. I'm getting over it. After being married and divorced twice, I'm really starting to get a better sense of what I like to do in the world. And it turns out often I like freedom. Freedom is really important to me, really important to me. I love the freedom and autonomy that I get as a single person, and I love it. And I think I would really struggle as part of a couple that lived, say, in one house. I think I would really be struggling. And so I'm really free. I'm really happy to be free of all that. And so that's why, for me, Valentine's Day represents a kind of relief. Like, oh, wow, I don't have to do all that stuff. It's a struggle. But I do admit that being crazy in love, over heels in love with another person is wonderful. And I think that you can make that happen all the time. Personally, I fall in love 2-3 times a day. I know it's hard to believe. It's actually not hard to believe. Here's how you fall in love. Here's the recipe. You only focus on the positive aspects of the person who you're with. And then you meditate on those aspects, right? You dwell on those aspects. Hey, I could do that even when I'm not in love with someone. I mean, I can fall in love with them on purpose, really, because it's about where you put your focus, right? It's about where you put your attention. It's about how you build your narrative. It's about what words you use and whether you're intentional about it or not. It makes a big difference. It can be actually quite helpful, keeping it under control, making it a little more reliable, helping you be more secure, right? Helping you feel more secure. You can do it consciously. And in fact, that is what my fatherly advice is today. It's about being conscious about your narrative. Of course, I'm always talking about being conscious about your narrative. Why? Because I think it's really important. And my fatherly advice today is use words like bricks to build your reality. And, I think of a bricklayer who begins this building by stacking one brick upon another brick, and which he stacks upon another brick. And it takes a long time to do, right? To build this building, but he builds it brick by brick, and he builds it word by word, right? That's how we build our realities, word by word, conversation by conversation, not only with other people, but with ourselves through internal dialogue. This is how we build our world. And this is how we put ideas and images at the forefront of our mind. It's how we, there's always something of benefit in every situation. There's something to learn. There's something to discover. There's something to see beauty in. There's something to see to be awe-inspired by, right? There are always virtues that you're exercising. Every day you're exercising some kind of virtue. You are developing strengths, right? These strengths, whether they're your sense of humor or your flexibility, or maybe they're your spontaneity, or maybe with the positive frame that you're using, you can feel good, really good, no matter what's happening. You can feel good about your behavior, right? There must be some aspect of your own behavior that you feel good about. Maybe it's an aspect you feel proud of, right? Build that. Those are the bricks that you can build your reality with. And these are bricks that are present in every moment. You just got to look for them, right? You just got to find them. And use them. Use them in your conversations with yourself. Use them in conversations with others. You can build your reality that way. You can build your own heaven, or you can build your own hell. It's your own choice. It's your choice. You have that freedom and autonomy. You are in the driver's seat to create the reality that you want. And, so anyway, this is an empowering message. A lot of my videos are empowering. Why? Because I'm your father. I want to support you. I want to support you. I want to support your strengths. I want to support your energy. I want to support your life. I want you to build a life that is flourishing. I want you to flourish on this planet. And a lot of flourishing is just about getting traction, right? It's about making progress every day, and a little bit of progress through insights. One strong insight I've been having lately is about just how necessary it is to take action. And, I was thinking about how, the thing about my life is that I'm continually waking up in the morning and reality is asking me to take action every morning. I love reality. Reality is so wonderful, and I can work in partnership with reality. Reality is presenting to me an external environment, and it wants me to take action. And what's wonderful is that every time I take action, my cerebellum rings, the reward center in my brain starts ringing, and so it's like this partnership with reality I have. Reality is always asking me to take action, and my brain rewards me for that action and directly into my reward center. So what I'm conveying to you is this importance of taking action and how it's a reality oriented perspective, right? That you can work hand to hand in partnership, arm in arm with reality by being action oriented. That's right, action oriented. I look at all these people sitting around. We're watching sports, watching video games, right? They're programming on their computers or whatever, sitting down, essentially doing nothing. They're looking at their TV screens, and that's it. They're not taking action. And to me, it's no wonder that people are suffering from depression and mental illness and anxiety at levels not unheard of. It's because I think they're not taking action. Physical, visible, positive action. That's what reality calls us to do as human beings every day, every moment, every hour, every day, is to take some kind of action. And so I guess that's the next aspect of my fatherly advice. Not only do you build your reality with brick words, but take action. Figure out, and I don't care when I say action. I mean that in a very general sense. Certainly, I'm talking about action that would be consistent with your long-term best interests, your long-term self-interest. I'm interested in you. And you know what? You can decide what action you want to take. You got the freedom to decide whether it's cleaning your house, doing the dishes, doing your homework, even reading a book, but going out there and working your body by running and, reaching out to family and friends and visiting them. That's the kind of action I'm talking about. Going to work, doing research, and making products that help other people, that enable other people, that empower other people. Hey, wait a second. That's what I'm doing. That's right. This is me taking action. And, enjoy it. Enjoy the action taking process, right? This is what you're made to do. It's what you're built to do. I mean, first of all, look at all your body. Your body, first of all, it gets fully articulated because of all the joints that you have. Why do people have joints at all? Right? Why do they have joints? Well, because we are movers. We are movers and we are meaning makers, right? That's what human beings are, movers and meaning makers. So we take action. And we also create meaning with our words. So this is who we are. This is what we do. I'm asking you to work in concert with your own body, with your own mind. Work in concert with reality. Okay, you can tell I'm pumped up about this. This is the good stuff. This is the juice. I'm serious. This is what the passion is all about. Miguel, where do you get all your passion? I get it from working consistently with reality and the facts of reality. You betcha. Yeah, and I take hints and clues from my own physiology and just from what I learned from others, right? Speaking of learning from others, you bet. So I've got my iPad Pro here, and let's do some learning with others by reading books. Reading books is great. Why? Because you get access to another person's work, right? Their mental work quite often. Sometimes their experiences, and they write them down on paper, and you get to live a second life. Maybe you get to live a third life. These people curate out of love for the subject. These books, they put them together, and they assemble this knowledge. They distill it into golden nuggets of wisdom. that's what we got right here. So MJ Ryan is an author who I've been reading lately. I've read like 3 or 4 of her books just in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And one of her books that I've been reading lately has been called The Happiness Makeover. And I just finished it. Well, actually, I finished it like 2 weeks ago. But I figured that it'd be nice for me to go through some of the passages that I highlighted in her book. So this is MJ Ryan's book, Happiness Makeover. And the first passage that I highlighted was this one. I'm reading it right now. It says, "How would our lives change if we really thought that reality is fabulous?" Okay, so let's mull over that one a little bit. How would our lives change if we really thought reality is fabulous? So here's the thing. Human society, we have a history of, it's a cultural legacy of fighting with reality. Basically, people are at war with reality constantly. I know you and I have been indoctrinated into this society where we are at war with reality. How are we at war? Well, we use constructions like could and should and would. The problem with those constructions is that, there's a lot of benefit from them, of course, but I don't know. I think it sort of sets us up for problems. It's the supposition that reality is not fabulous. What? I know. So think about religion, for example. Religion is all about fighting the body. It's about spirit versus the material world. And it's how there's like a battle, I don't know, conceptual battle. Everything's like this warlike metaphor, which I'm not really crazy with. You got to watch your metaphors. Metaphors are powerful because they bring to mind images, and images are powerful because that's how your brain operates. But this whole war metaphor is just not working. It creates a lot of insecurity, and what if we used what if we believed that reality, instead of being a problem that needed to be solved, where we go into problem solving mode and focus on what's wrong, what if instead we believe the opposite? What? Yes, the positive opposite. What's the positive opposite of reality is wrong, of what's happening is wrong or a problem? The opposite, the positive opposite, is that reality is fabulous. That's right. And, I have a really strong belief that reality is at base pretty fabulous. I talk about how, every moment is a miracle, right? Every moment that you're alive and that you're breathing, all that possibility that exists right here at the moment. It's really just, that's the first step, and that's the only step you need to take, right? That is enough to fill your life with awe and wonder and discovery and learning. Really, that's it. Reality is fabulous, and seeking out ways to make it more fabulous, yeah, that sounds like my kind of world, where Every day is just a recognition of the success that I accomplished the previous day and have the potential to accomplish today. You know, a lot of it is just sort of realizing it. It's just realizing how amazing and amazingly fabulous reality is. And yeah, until it ends. And then it's over, right? No big deal. Even when your life is over, right? There's this idea that, you know, when you don't exist, time passes in an instant, right? There was the time before I was born when I didn't exist. That was a few billion years, basically 12 billion years past. And I didn't even realize it because I hadn't existed yet. And then after I die, which will happen in about 40 years, fingers crossed, then another 12 billion years will pass in a blink of an eye. You know, basically it's a sandwich. it's the infinity sandwich. The temporal the temporal infinity sandwich. We're bound on either end by infinities, before our birth, after our death, and in between we've got the nougat, right? We got the good stuff, the creme de la creme. You know, we got the good stuff in between our birth and death. And you know what? Why not take the time to enjoy its benefit? It's like an Oreo cookie, man. Life is like an Oreo cookie. I think that is what it is. Anyway, so what if we first talked about life as being fabulous before we even got to all the problems? Here's the problem. People get stuck on problems, and they're trying to make a reality into something that it's not. They're trying to, here's an interesting metaphor. They're trying to make a cat bark. What do I mean by that? You know, reality is the way it is. In a way, it's unchangeable. You know, I believe I believe in materialism, and from a scientific materialism and determinism. In some respects, there's nothing you can do about it. Life is just the way it is. And people do pray and they wish and they lament about the way the world is. And you can do that. It's entirely possible to do that, and do that in your entire life. Lament about the way the world should be and how it isn't the way you wish. You can spend your entire life doing that. And just imagine what that would be like. Well, a lot of people, I don't have to imagine it. I just have to look. I just have to look at what other people are doing. And they're basically doing that. They're basically saying, you know, what I've got is garbage, they're saying, right? I even hate to use that phrase, but that's what they're saying. Rubbish, right? What they have is rubbish. All that I have is rubbish, right? Well, really what's happened is that the brain is just taking their lives for granted. You know, the brain is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It automatizes. And so, you know, I can appreciate that. You know, so really the task is to step away from that framework and move to a new one. And that is to appreciate what there is to appreciate in the world as it is, with all its faults and problems. Because in amongst all the faults and problems is this silver lining. Mine the silver line. Mine the silver line. And, you know, and so how do you mine the silver line? Well, you ask, well, first of all, you start from a positive frame, right? The positive frame is sort of a recognition that as a rule, with your thinking, you're going to think only in positive terms. And you're going to ask generative questions. What I mean by generative question is a question that you can respond to, like, what do I love about my life right now? That is a generative question. Why is it generative? Because it focuses your attention. And it's asking you to generate answers that sort of solve that question. And what's wonderful about my life right now? That's a generative question. It's a positive with a positive frame. And the task is to do this all the time. Every moment of your life, identify through statements what's good about your life, and ask these positive generative questions that just continually ask you to place your focus on what's good in the world. That's what life's all about, friends. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to the next quotation. So this is something I highlighted on page 2. The passage reads, "Or would we find that life is exciting, joyful, or wonderful?" I'll move on to the next passage. Page 4 is something as a quote that I highlighted. It says, "I would religiously catalog all that was wrong with my life and spend my time and energy trying to create a happier tomorrow." Well, first of all, spending all of your time and energy creating a happier tomorrow sounds like a wonderful job. That's a dream come true. That's a dream job, if you ask me. But what is not a dream job is this: cataloging all that was wrong with my life. So that's what a lot of people tend to do. In fact, and then they tell stories about it. Oh man, I was in a group of people yesterday, and they were telling their stories. Essentially, they were wailing, lamentating. They were lamentating. Their lamentations. They were talking basically a lot of story about the past was going on. About how rough they had it, right? The difficulties that were being described were, tragic, essentially. There's a lot of tragedy in the world. I mean, every moment really is a loss. You could have been doing something else that might be more productive, more effective. But, and if you think about it, really every moment of life involves some kind of loss. I get it. There's a lot that's wrong with the world. I get it. There's a lot that's wrong. But you know what? There's a lot that's right with the world too. Does it balance out what's wrong with the world? Maybe not. How many ways are there to die? There's probably about 1 million. Heart disease, cancer, leukemia, lymphoma. There's a lot of ways to die. There's 1 million ways to die. How many ways are there to live? Well, there's probably only about 100. Yeah, there's probably only about 100. I don't know. 1 million ways to die and 100 ways to live. I know we're all not gonna quite make it, right? And that's okay. It's just the change of the seasons, right? The dinosaurs lived 65 million years ago, and now they're gone. There are actually a few dinosaurs around. For example, birds alligators. You know, there's still dinosaurs that persist, thankfully. And then, you know what? We also forget about the part of the biome that is made up of single-celled animals, bacteria, viruses, fungi. I have a feeling that there are still ancient fungi around, some fungus. That's right. Let's celebrate the fungus. Celebrate the ancient prehistoric fungus. They didn't die when the meteorite hit the planet Earth 65 million years ago. They continue to survive. So anyway, I'm playing a little bit here, but I know it's a serious topic to some extent. It's just that we can get caught up in problems, and there's really no limit to the number of problems that I could catalog. There are an infinite number of problems. In fact, I sent you a letter the other day, and in that letter, I wrote down some areas that I was interested in from a social justice standpoint. And I was kind of curious, Em, about what social justice issues that you are tracking. I would like to know. And I wrote down a few social justice issues that were important to me. And one of the more interesting or strongest social justice issue that I'm interested in right now happens to be gender equality. That's really important. Believe it or not, I also am focused on racism. I would like to solve that problem. I think it's a problem with a relatively easy solution. But so racism, that's an issue, for a social justice issue. Also, animal rights. Animal rights are important to me. I feel compassion for animals, and I want to alleviate their suffering. And I want animals to live lives, natural lives. I want animals to live their natural lives, to live it out. And I'm an advocate for, we can leave animals alone and still live and thrive. Human beings, we've gotten to the point where we are relatively animal independent, where we actually don't really need to use animals as resources for us to live. Or at least we can significantly minimize it. But I wanted to talk about other social justice issues that were on my mind. And I think basically for me, the number one social justice issue that's on my mind is climate change. Absolutely. And I'm really pleased to hear in the news arguments for helping to deal with climate change. Em, I'm curious, do you have any of these interests yourself? Do you have any of these interests in these social justice issues, whether it's racism, gender equality, climate change? Let me know. Animal rights. Maybe we can talk about these subjects. If you're interested in them, I would love to talk about maybe steps that we can take to help solve some of these social justice issues. I am there, girl. Step with me, and we can step up and take some action. We could go do some peaceful protest somewhere. That would be totally cool. I'd be up for that. If that is of interest to you, we could do some online. We could go. I don't know. We could join some online conversations. We could learn more about the subject by reading books, watching movies. I don't know. That sounds pretty exciting to me. If that's something that enthuses you and gives you energy, is it something that energizes you? Let's do it. Yeah. Let's see what we can do to solve climate change. Maybe we can work on living a waste-free life or minimalism. Or maybe what we can do is try to reduce our carbon footprints. That sounds exciting to me. And if you're interested in that, let's do it together. I think reaching out with one another in partnership to solve these social justice issues could be a lot of fun. Anyway, that's cool stuff. We're definitely going to have to do that. And maybe if social justice, I think climate change may be something that is exciting to you. That's just a guess of mine. And that's something we can do to work together. We can think about energy saving tips. We can reduce plastic waste. There's so many things that we could do. All right, let's move on to my next quotation. So the next quotation that I highlighted is a passage that is on page 5. And the quotation is this: happiness is its own reward. I think this is critical. It's simultaneous. Not simultaneous. Yeah, so there's the simultaneity principle. The very moment that you consider a positive thought, you're a little bit happier. You're like 1% happier right there. I'm serious. That's all it takes is one thought. Dwelling on one positive thought can make you a little bit happier. How soon does the happiness response happen? It's instantaneous. Okay, maybe it's not truly instantaneous. Maybe takes about 1/10 of a second. That's pretty fast. That's like lightning flash, lightning fast. It's sort of how, emotions are connected to words, right? Through connotations, through meanings and definitions. And it's like a lightning strike. You know what? Actually, you know what it's like? It's like a light switch. How fast does it take a light bulb to turn on after you've flipped the light switch? It's almost instantaneous. Now, I admit it takes time for the energy to flow down the circuit in the form of a current as it pushes through the wire and through the resistor, which is the light bulb. I would guess that it takes place about 100 times less fast than the speed of light. If the speed of light is 1 times 10 to the 8th meters per second, then this is probably happening at 1 times 10 to the 6th meters per second. So it's really fast. That's about 100,000 meters per second. That's the speed that electricity flows through conduit, through wire, to the light bulb. It's fast. And you know what? The human brain runs on electricity too, right? The human brain is this electrochemical machine. And so how quickly does it take for, say, a word or an image to spark a little bit of happiness producing chemistry in your brain? Super fast. It's super fast. It's lightning fast. It's almost instantaneous. So, wow, you get almost instantaneous feedback from the words and images, the positive words and images that you use. I mean, come on, what else provides that quick response in terms of benefit? We have very few things that do that. Sometimes if I get a coupon in the mail, it might take me a few days to use that coupon. The reward is much delayed. There's a lot of delay, but not when it comes to forming your narrative. It's almost instantaneous. Happiness is its own reward, and it happens instantaneously. So the next passage I highlighted was on page 5. They accept others too, so are free to love people as they are, rather than expending energy trying to do a repair job on everyone in sight. Yeah. So, how much easier is it just to accept the way people are compared to um, trying to change who they are? Right? One's easier than the other. Accepting other people or trying to change other people. Which one? Okay, I know it's accepting other people. That is so much easier. I mean, that is a relief. Whew. I mean, wow. The quotation goes on. This is on page 5. They accept others too, so they're free to love people as they are, rather than expending energy trying to do a repair job on everyone in sight. Yeah, that's a lot of work. In fact, a lot of people suggest that you can't change others. I think that's a true statement in our culture that's making the rounds. It's been making the rounds for like 20, 30 years and probably longer. You just can't change other people. Isn't it better to love others for who they are? Why not just do that? Why not just love people for who they are? Even from a distance, you can notice, you can learn things about people, your friends, your relatives. You can learn what makes them great, even from a distance. You can empathically connect with them from a distance, and learn that way about what it is that makes them amazing. What makes them great, what makes them strong. You can see from a distance what virtues they have. Why not just sort of luxuriate in that learning? Luxuriate about about their qualities, right? They have signature strengths of their personality. They have qualities that are worth admiring, and you could do that from a distance. That sounds a lot easier than making judgments about people and trying to change them. I'm all about making things easier, and with a little positive action, through communicating this knowledge to them, this learning, these findings to them, you can create a lot of happiness. You create a lot of enjoyment. That's really what I try to do in my relationship with you. I'm continually searching and looking for, what's golden in your personality. I want to bring it out. I want to acknowledge it. I want to validate it. That's what I do. I'm a validator. I'm a validating machine. I'm noticing what all the good aspects of the people around me. And it's a wonderful life. It's a great way to be. People want to be validated, and I want to validate them. That's right. I seek out opportunities to validate other people, and that makes them feel good. And as a result, I have a lot of friends, which is great. I love it. And you know what? That's really the key to friendship anyway. What's the key to friendship, Miguel? Can you repeat that? Yeah, I'd be happy to. First of all, it's about eliciting good feelings in other people. And what's almost a sure way of doing that is validating them. They have a certain idea of who they are. And there are ways that you can acknowledge and validate them. And you can help them see themselves in a positive light. Especially even when they're down on themselves. And, that's what friendship really is. That's who you keep around you, people who can help you explore your own self, your own personality, your own being in ways that are constructive, right? And not destructive, right? Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to the next passage. This is a passage on page 5. that I highlighted. It says, the zest with which they encounter life is contagious. People are drawn into their orbit, and success seems to be attracted as well. They are healthier too. A study reported recently in the Journal of Neurology found that happy older people are less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. Whoa. That's pretty amazing. I wouldn't have expected that, really. So, a zest with which they encounter life is contagious. People are drawn into their orbit, and success seems to be attracted as well. I like this word zest. Why are people with zest more appealing? You know, I think it has to do with like the energy of life, right? The energy of action. People who are energetic, they're zestful. They are engaging in life in a zesting way. They're zestly. I'm just making up words as we go. He is zesting. I'm zesting. We are zesting. They're zesting. I like zest. I actually do like that bar soap. That's pretty amazing. I'm a really big fan. By the way, I'm a really big fan of bar soap. Believe it or not, I have a real challenging time with liquid soap. It's great in a lot of certain circumstances, but not in the shower, man. Give me my solid bar soap. The thing about the liquid soaps is that they sort of, I don't know. It's all about coating, right? It's just like a painting project. You need a brush and you need a wall and some paint. And with the liquid soaps out there, I have a hard time painting that stuff when I'm trying to wash myself. I like to have a nice bar, which is like, you know. Anyway, I like this word zest. Why? Because it combines two things: energy and positivity, right? Physical energy. There's something that I say quite often is that it takes energy to be positive. It takes energy. It takes physical energy. You can't be positive and asleep, and you just can't be positive and tired. Being positive takes physical energy. It takes strength. It takes muscle strength. Yeah. It takes muscle strength. It also takes cardiovascular fitness. I'm serious. If you want your positivity to be enduring, right, then it takes cardiovascular endurance. It just does. This is why it's so important to work out, to exercise on a regular basis, to take action on a regular basis. If you can't exercise, definitely take some kind of action by doing stuff. It just takes energy. So imagine a person who is really tired. Really tired. Is there a way that that person can have a positive outlook when they're really tired? Yeah, but I think it's a little less likely. Now think of someone who is super speedy and energetic. They got tons of energy. They're like the Energizer Bunny, right? They're battery powered and they just can't stop. I mean, I can sense. I get a sense of, say, a positive jolt of energy from people who have a lot of physical energy, a lot of physical strength, a lot of cardiovascular strength. Anyway, the next quote is also on page 5. And the passage I highlighted says that happiness must be experienced in this moment or risk never being felt at all. Yeah. So that's where happiness happens. You know, I wish happiness happened in the future, and I wish it happened in the past. But it doesn't. Happiness really can only happen in the present. It can only happen now. And it can only happen now as a result of decisions that we make. That's right. I was talking about earlier the narratives that we use, the word bricks that we use to build our reality. You know, it's always in the present. It's kind of funny. We do a lot of, as human beings, we do a lot of planning for what the future might look like. And that planning, we're basically seeking to make happiness part of our future, right? Through success, accomplishing goals, right? And it's not only that. The thing is, what's great is we can take action to support feeling happy, but really feeling happy only happens in the present moment. Yeah. Like it's happening right now, right now, and right now, and right now, and right now. So really being happy is about what I'd call continuous, sort of like an enduring consistency, present-mindedness, and it's always in the present. Here's the thing, though. I know that a person can plan for, say, a vacation in a week's time and get a lot of enjoyment from the planning. That's for sure. And that also is a present moment happiness, so to speak. And one can also be sentimental and dream about the past and also experience enjoyment and happiness because of that. So you can be happy considering the future. You can be happy considering the past. And you're always happy in the present. Yeah. And in the present only. Yeah. Although there are things that we can do to help support our happiness in the future, actions that we can take to make it more probable, right? So thankfully that is the case, and we can steer clear of sort of actions that create conditions that might not work for us in terms of being happiness producing. There are things, for example, I tend to stay away from watching horror movies. Although I will watch an occasional humorous horror movie. I think that can be really fun. And you know what? By the way, there is something that there's something strengthening about horror, the horror genre, and fear. I mean, I like going on roller coasters just like anyone else. And a big part of going on a roller coaster is overcoming fear and the feelings, a sense of courage that you get after having been on a roller coaster. Like, you recall about the bravery that it took for you to step onto the roller coaster. I think maybe it's the same with horror films too. It probably is the same with horror films. It's like, look what I accomplished, right? I was able to endure the frightening time. Well, anyway, I guess what I'll do quickly is maybe I'll get on to this question and answer period. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just wrap things up. So, I am so pleased that you decided to spend some time with me. I hope that you felt built up as a result of our conversation today. I hope that you felt a little bit more inspired than you were, than just before you clicked onto this video. I am optimistic about the future. We get to experience time together like this pretty much every day for the rest of my life. What could be better than that? Serious, what could be better than that? Very few things could be better than that. So I'm really optimistic about our future together. Our ability to connect in the future will just only get deeper and more significant. And, I'm really looking forward to that. I want to work with you shoulder to shoulder and having fun and enjoying ourselves at play. And I don't know. I've got all these visions, and they just make me so happy to imagine what's possible between us, because there really is a lot possible between us. There's so much potential, and all it takes is the spark of an idea, right? A single creative idea can make it all happen. And man, I mean, I've been working in the kitchen lately, making cookies and cakes, and I was about to make brownies yesterday, but that didn't quite work out. But I'm thinking I want to make brownies again. And I was thinking about how we could together work in the kitchen, and we could do some cooking. We could make burritos. Oh, yeah. Or even peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. In fact, Emily, I've got this idea. I recall when you were a young girl that you really liked boiled eggs, hard boiled eggs. And guess what? Easter's coming up soon, and we could do like a hard boiled egg activity together. And in fact, I'm guessing that even the Paws hard-boiled egg coloring kits are coming out soon. And wow, I mean, I'm excited about that already. We could make some hard-boiled eggs and eat them afterwards. That sounds like fun. I know I try to eat vegan, but again, I just try to eat vegan. I'm willing to eat hard-boiled eggs with you if you want to eat some. And that sounds like a lot of fun. So there's so many wonderful holidays coming up. There's St. Patrick's Day, there's Easter, there's Valentine's Day. There's so many opportunities for celebration and fun and play. It boggles the mind. And I'm also super duper looking forward to going to water parks, and I'm happy and interested to share those experiences with you. Then there's going to be camping, and then there's the beach this summer. Truly, this year is going to be magnificent, and I can't wait to share some of it with you, whether it's through videos or photography or through drawing, or through face-to-face or video teleconferencing or letter writing or text messaging. There's so many ways that we can join together and connect. I'm really looking forward to utilizing all of those ways and bringing more joy into your life and making your life more wonderful than it already is. Yep. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it together. We can do it together, make each other's life more and more wonderful. Anyway, on that note, I want to say farewell, goodbye, Auf Wiedersehen. And I want to say I love you, and I hope you have a fabulous day today, the 11th of February. And here's looking at you, kid, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful Thanksgiving Day. A wonderful Valentine's Day, and maybe we'll see one another. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.